call the Development and Review Committee meeting Wednesday, 1st of May, 2024, 9 a.m. Call that meeting open. We have one case before us today, case UB 2024-11. Ryan Trully, 497 South, 800 West, Hebron, Indiana, Porter Township. Zoning is A1 General Agriculture District, and the request is an informal review for the proposed mobile food truck to operate and sell food from the property. And we have someone representing Mr. Trully.
Yes.
You state your name, address, and business, and then give us an overview of what you plan to do.
Okay, my name is Julia Truly. My address is 497 South, 800 West, Hebron, Indiana, 46341. And I am the owner of Truly Smoke Shack, which is a mobile food trailer. And we specialize in smoked meats and homemade sides. And we're just looking to change get a variance to change it so we can sell off of our land, which would be, we are a self-contained unit, so we can make the food right in our trailer. We were approved by the health department for that. And it would be like for pickups. We both work 40 hours a week, so it wouldn't be an everyday thing that we would be open, but just it would give us the availability to sell.
And then what kind of hours of operation are you looking at?
I would have to say for right now, it would be weekends, and probably nothing is set in stone. It would vary depending on if we have like other events going on. But we were looking maybe 11 to 6, 11 to 7.
Okay, I'll have some others, but Dave, you want to start?
Yeah, just a couple of questions about, is there any, what's like the noise level associated with your operation?
We have a generator, but being at the house, we would be plugged in, so there's really not any noise other than if we're running the smoker, but it's very minimal.
Okay. And what's the width of the driveway that you have? You have the plan is to widen the driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If we are approved, we are going to widen it so traffic can go both ways.
Okay, that was one of my,
Yes.
that was one, because it looks narrow
Yes.
right now when we looked it up online.
100%.
Okay, so that would be widened.
Yes.
Let me look through here. We got noise. What type? So how do you currently operate? Is this something that you're currently taking to different locations?
It is, and we do catering, but we have to drop off right now because we can't have anyone coming to our property to pick up and purchase anything.
Right.
So we do events and we do catering.
Okay. Do you? So I'm assuming that you have like promotion on social media and whatnot. Do you have any type of projection as to how many customers a day would you expect to be coming to the site?
That's a great question, and I would think it would depend on the day. We purchased our mobile food truck from down the road. They ran it, and so just driving by, you would see like a couple cars. So I'm not expecting a great deal of traffic.
Okay.
But as far as how many people per day, I really maybe 100 throughout the day. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's question.
And I ask because well, of course, it would help if the driveway is widened, but one of the reasons I ask is because with this being, a residential, with this being residential, if somebody, they don't know what to do, or you're doing well on a certain day, and we certainly wouldn't want to see vehicles backed out onto the road. If,
Right.
Somebody's not pulling up, or they don't know where to go, or they're having a hard time making a K-turn to turn around,
Right.
that would definitely be something to consider.
I would say when we're running, which I never thought of that aspect of it, but there will be multiple people there. So if it did come to in a time where there was a lot of traffic, we could probably, direct traffic or even shut our driveway off for a little bit for incoming traffic or,
Okay.
whatever would need to be done so we're not blocking the traffic.
That was another question I had. Is there going to be somebody that can help with that?
Yes.
If something does get hairy, or
Yes.
folks are looking at their phone and they're not pulling up, and all of a sudden.
We have 6 people that live in the house, so it's kind of like a family thing. We'll just all, pitch in and
There you go.
make it work.
Love it.
Dave, based on what you're hearing and talking about, do you think you can craft a condition to that regard?
Yeah, I think we could probably put something like that together.
Okay.
So there's always going to be other folks on site available for helping with that. You already addressed the fact that so I was looking at this thinking I don't see how you're going to get cars in and out. So the driveway is going to be widened, not every day. I think I'm set for now.
Dan?
Let's see. So, I spoke to our foods director, Susan Bell, just to kind of, they said, you've been inspected and everything, you have a permit with them. I was just asking her if there was anything in addition you would have to do, and it doesn't sound like there's anything in terms of foods. What are you doing for wastewater? There's a tank on the...
There's a tank, and we will take it. Currently, I also have a commissary. I have a license with the commissary as well. But we take it to, it's the truck stop by I-65 in Lowell. They have a waste where you can pay $10 and dispose of it.
Right.
And what I'm currently thinking of doing, if this is approved, I'm going to get a portable tank, which will make it easier. We won't have to take the trailer all the way there. We can just put it into the portable tank and drive the portable tank to the disposal site.
Yeah, because I think it says there's a 50-gallon tank, wastewater tank on the trailer.
Right.
I mean, my concern here is if you're running, all day, is 50 gallons going to be enough with the constant hand washing and the prepping of the food and rinsing things off and all that?
That's a good question.
Because, I mean, are you going to have to pull off site to go dump it and then come back? I mean...
These portable tanks, if we could get a way to remove it from the trailer into the portable tank, we could just keep it in the bed of our pickup truck, and that way it wouldn't fill up.
Okay.
And I was looking at them, researching them before. I don't recall how big they are, but it's very close to the 50 gallons. And so even if we had to get a couple of them, it would remove it from the trailer, and we could dispose of it at the end of the day.
Okay. Because the other thing I have here is you have a contract with BBs for pumping?
We do, but we don't use them. We've just been taking it to the...
Okay.
Yes.
But if you had to use them,
Yes.
the contract's still good?
Yes, it is.
And lined up to come out and pump down those tanks?
Right.
If you had to, okay. It's just something I wanted to bring to your attention because you got to have proper wastewater disposal.
Correct.
And if this is going to be more of a permanent setup kind of thing, you may have to look at, if you were to like expand it, what you were doing here or something, you wouldn't want to hook it to your existing septic system or anything. You would probably want to do a separate system for it if this became, something besides the mobile truck. So, I would just say, look into those wastewater tanks and, basically, it can't create a health issue. They can't, you can't dump them out on the property or dump them into your existing septic or anything like that. You would either have to have BBs come out and pump it or take them to, the truck stop and empty them properly. Okay. That's all I had.
Okay, Kevin?
I won't jump ahead. I just want to point out that since Kelly doesn't have a screen right in front of her. Kelly, this is probably more your world, but I wanted to point out that there's a proposed sign near the intersection of the driveway and the roadway that I didn't see before.
That was on my list.
Okay.
Mine too.
Very good.
Go ahead, Kevin.
When I was looking at this, I checked the zoning is A1. It doesn't appear that this is a permitted use for A1. However, in the district intent, and by the way, you're not looking, in my opinion, for a variance, you're looking for a special use exception.
Okay.
And probably best to go to Board of Zoning Appeal. And it allows a special exception use only when it's clearly a benefit to the adjacent neighbors. Now, you said it was already existing prior to this.
Yes. Lake County side, but yes.
Pardon?
It was on the Lake County side.
Well, it's still necessary in my opinion too, because for the formal meeting, you need to notify your neighbors. So you'll need to
Right.
notify those on the Lake County side in addition to the Porter
Yes.
side. When that happens. And then, of course, David brought up the sign, and that's often a sticking point for the county, and yet there are a lot of rules to be following, and you'll need direction from the Plan Commission before you put up or Department of Development. Specifically talk to Kelly Caldwell about that. She sounds like she's on that. You know, personally, I've got nothing against that specific type of business. It's just from our standpoint, from the planning standpoint, what businesses fit, what other businesses might pop in using this as the
Right.
example, and that's why it best fits into the special exception category with Board of Zoning Appeal.
Okay.
I also looked at temporary use and structure standards, but still no reference to food service or those kind of things. And Dan answered most of my questions because I was concerned about what you do with your waste stream.
Right.
Bottom line, it sounds like this is just going to be used here at this location where you're not taking out to events, to fairs, to festivals, those kind of things.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, we do plan on doing events as well, so that's why the hours would fluctuate, because we do enjoy the events. But this would just, like I said, open it up to, you know, if people would like to place an order and pick it up, or, you know, just, they would be able to come to our property and pick it up.
And you do pronounce this Truly
Yes.
Barbecue. That sounds a lot better than Trolley.
I do
Truly
probably
barbecue.
a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Before we go to the next person, you mentioned events. When you mean events, that means you're going elsewhere.
Correct.
Do you anticipate you would ever host events at your?
No.
So this would be
Absolutely not.
strictly
Yes.
people picking stuff up and moving
Right.
on, are you going to have dining, picnic tables and things?
That is a thought, and it would be, you know, if it is allowed, to have a couple picnic tables. They did previously, and you would sometimes see like one or two people sitting down eating, as sometimes they would have motorcycles drive by and, you know, you can't eat, or, you know, so they would just sit and eat. So we had contemplated that, yes.
Very good, thank you. Kelly?
I had a question also about that dining. You're thinking about some picnic tables there. Do you have any? It was also reminded. Do any signage you do have to get a permit for that?
Okay,
The other item is and I think we covered this as well. You can't park in the right of way or along the road.
Right.
So that you're able to drive.
yes,
My other comment would be on that. It appears is your driveway gravel.
it is.
So you might want to just keep in mind dust, address that in some way, shape, or form.
Okay,
That just makes you a good neighbor.
yes.
And then my other question was, if you're going to go into 7 p.m., are you anticipating any kind of lighting? Right now you don't need it, but maybe later.
It would only be during the summer months. I guess I should have stated that too. We won't operate when it's cold out. So I would say, and once again, once the daylight starts dropping down, we're not gonna probably stay open past daylight. So we'll kind of follow the season and how the sun, you know, how much daylight we have.
All right, so no smoked foods in like January.
Correct.
All right. Those are some cold picnic tables. I think that's all I had. I guess my other question goes over to Kevin. You're talking about the special exception use. She's actually going for a use variance, and I'm not really sure where you're seeing that it would be a special exception.
I looked under the UDO, under the general agriculture, or the A1 district, but I didn't see where we had restaurants or food service or anything related to A1. It was farm product. So if they were raising the product, we could have farm stand. This is not the case.
So I guess I'm still just confused. So you're okay with the use variance then, rather like we're on the same
That's what I would suggest, that, well, not the use variance, but a special exception in front of BZA. Wouldn't use variance come to planning commission?
Goes. That
No?
goes.
Okay.
Because it's not listed as a special exception on it, that's why I'm a little confused, but that, we can discuss that internally.
Well, you didn't on the, well, you didn't even refer to the use, use variance on the application here. So the first time I heard use variance was when the petitioner brought it up. But my suggestion still is that it be a special exception use.
I
That would
think
drive others in the same situation to come to BZ for a special exception. And we wouldn't have a permanent use variance. Now, that's the other issue.
Well, use variance isn't permanent either. There is.
It can be.
Depends on what the board makes a motion, but
Yep.
usually they're every 5 years or a year.
Yeah, usually,
Well, we can put conditions on the use variance, is what I'm saying. Okay. Anything else, Kelly?
I had kind of a lot, sorry about that.
Because at the end, I want to read some of the conditions that the various staff members have put, and I want to make sure staff, I have copied them down. Rich, do you have anything to add?
I had two questions. I assume your closest neighbor is to the south, at least as far as the aerial photo that's there, and they're aware of what you're doing now, so,
They're my in-laws.
okay. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Hence
That
the-
does help,
hence
yes.
It can help.
the traffic count.
That's why I didn't bring it up, because I researched who was
Yes.
living around there last night, and
Well, then.
the only person 2 doors north, they own the field north, and then it's the next guy to the north that's not related.
Then I have nothing else to say other than, you're not raising the meat on.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
That's it. I'm good.
And I assume that blue parking square on that first slide, it kind of indicated parking on your in-laws, so I was just assuming that you had their permissions.
Yes, absolutely.
I always
Yep.
hope that
Yes,
in-laws work,
they are fantastic, so.
but that's something to be cognizant of from the board standpoint, that
Right,
that parking is on your in-laws, at least for now.
yes, yep,
Do you have any questions of us?
I do not.
Okay. David, based on what you heard, do you have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, follow-up questions real quick. When the driveway, if the driveway were to be expanded, is there currently, I can't tell from this photo, is there a driveway culvert there?
There is at the end of the driveway,
Uh-huh,
yes.
okay,
And I believe my husband said it's wide enough that we can widen.
okay. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out, that would be a consideration when
Yes.
doing that work. Also, the issues with the sign to keep in mind, there are, in the Porter County documents, you'll see that there is a site vision triangle. And I believe the dimension it's 50 feet from the edge of the road going in. So if your road's like this, the triangle comes out like this on both sides. And there are rules in there regarding, there's also rules about the overall sign of a size, but it's also a factor of being able to maintain sight distance down both roads. So they're like, you have if an eyeball is this high above the ground, they need to be able to, you can't put anything in this triangle that's going to impede from like this height to this height
No, well-
to allow for vision to continue down the road. So those are the things that are looked at with that. But yeah, it's called I think it's called the vision distance triangle
Okay,
to be
Maybe-
considered.
just get like a banner so it can be removable. We don't want it up all the time.
Okay.
And then we could line it with our trees, which would definitely, it wouldn't be as visible, but it would indicate we're there.
Sure.
And it would keep it, keep the view for, drivers to be able to see the roads.
Okay.
Kelly, if you could respond to this, because I don't know how the county does it, but at the city, when I was there, banners are very discreetly used, special occasions. So if they're thinking of signing, they can't go put a plastic stick-on letter banner with 2 fence posts. It has to be something more substantial.
There's a pretty specific sign ordinance.
Yes.
It's reasonable, but if you are correct, it would be more permanent. We would make you show your location, so you're outside of that site triangle. If you wanted to put something temporary more up by your unit, you could probably do that, but.
Okay,
Not
So something permanent, but then we could just put like open or closed on it, so we wouldn't have traffic coming in when we're closed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want the plastic that says Coca-Cola, and got your name.
Okay, that was my thought, but we will definitely follow regulations, so.
And when
Andy?
it moves around, a lot of times you block the vision of your guest, and that leads to accident. By the way, this road is controlled by Lake County Highways, so they're the ones who plow and maintain it.
Okay,
So I don't know if the highway permit, if there's any requirement, since this is gonna be kind of a commercial use, if Lake County Highway needs to be involved. But just need to be aware the access is Lake County.
okay,
Our counties have the east and south boundaries of each of us in the state.
I think that's a good point taken, so let us research that.
okay,
And I'm sure they'll work with you. It's just, what are their terms?
yes,
I think it's for the purposes of access and all
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
Everything you're doing is definitely in Porter County, but I think on their access, they may take objection to that kind of traffic going in. I don't know.
They may have some special permitting that we don't have yet. It's Lake County.
Dan, do you have any follow-up?
Just looking at this, it looks like your existing septic field for the house is in the front yard.
correct,
If you end up widening that driveway, it will have to be 10 feet away from the leach field.
okay,
And when they are widening it, just make sure they're not driving across your
100%,
septic system and everything. But yeah, so there would be a 10-foot setback from the leach field, and then yeah, just make sure no one's driving on it, or don't let them pile, stone on the, aggregate on there or anything like that. So have them, if they need a staging area, stage it elsewhere, not
okay,
over the
You
septic
might want to
field.
put some of that safety, like the plastic fencing around whatever area they
Yeah.
can stay out of, because it's great to tell folks that, and then the truck shows up and doesn't know that, and
yes.
Anything else, Dan?
No, that's
Kevin, final comment?
No, you can see where the septic field is on the aerial photograph, just for a general reference. But still, you need somebody to locate that for sure.
We may have a drawing on file for the existing system, so you can just stop in and check with us, and we can plug in your address and see if we have something on file that kind of has like the length of the laterals and everything, and then you can go out there and kind of poke around and figure out where everything's at. And
We might have blueprints that might have it still, I'm not sure, but I'll,
okay.
but.
If you don't, we might have that stuff on
Okay.
file. So
Thank you, Dan. Kelly, I'm going to save you for last for a reason. Rich, do you have any final comments?
I do not, thank you.
Kelly, you have any final comments, and then if we can outline to her the next step she needs to go.
I have no additional comments.
And so if she gets a use variance, she does have to come in and do a pre-development meeting with staff? Is that correct?
You mean, once you get the grant and the use variance?
Because I was reading in the chapter, it says
Yes.
you have to have a pre-application meeting with staff prior to appearing before the BZA.
Oh, you're saying you want the pre-application meeting before she goes to the BZA? That's kind of what this is?
Mhm.
I think that's what.
DRC, yeah, I think.
Yeah, prior to submitting the use variance application, she has to have the pre-application meeting with staff.
That's already been accomplished.
It's accomplished? Okay, very good,
She is scheduled to this month's meeting on the third Wednesday of this month.
very well. Okay. So, no other comments from staff members? So some things I wrote down would probably end up being conditions to your use variance if the BZA wishes to grant it to. Is widen the driveway. And if I miss some, please let me know.
okay.
Monitor and dispose of wastewater off-site facilities, not allowed to be put in your own septic or above ground. Kevin and I agree to disagree, but right now I'm leaning toward it's a use variance.
I'll leave it to the BZA to tell us.
I think we're gonna have to look into, you're gonna have to have interaction with Lake County, not only with your neighbors, but also your drive is changing in its use, so they may have something to say about that since they maintain the road. Signage permit, look at the vision triangle. We do have standards for those signs. They can't be flimsy temporary signs that you stake out there. I think a good thing about dust control, you committed dust control for your neighbors' benefit. And somehow protect your septic field some way, let your guests know. And one thing I'd like to also add, based on the drawing you got, I'm guessing here, looks like your blue squares, and correct me, is that your property line, your property parking on your neighbor's lot?
It would be.
It's her in-laws.
Your in-laws?
We just talked about that.
I know,
Okay.
but, so is that gravel already?
That is not, but we, if they allow us, which I'm sure they would, we would add gravel to it.
Uh-huh.
And if that is not feasible for us to do, we can, we were thinking about creating parking, it would be on our property, but we would have to remove some trees and stuff like that, which isn't a big deal. So if we can't use theirs, and if that's not feasible, we can change it to make some more parking up in the front of our house and not on our septic.
Okay.
Because it's a pretty big yard, so there's definitely room to alter it.
Because based on what the parking you got here, it looks like you could park somewhere between 10 and 12 cars.
Right.
That's all. Did I miss anything on my list?
Yeah, I think the department has to work with her on the sign,
Okay.
and that might require BZA
Oh,
consideration.
here's the other conditions too. Right now, it's not to say you couldn't expand to weekdays, but right now you're thinking weekends, but definitely the time limits would be 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The latest it would be is at dusk.
Okay.
You'd have to shut down.
6 is,
Yeah.
So you're saying daylight hours only?
yes.
That would be a
Yes,
condition?
100%.
Okay.
And the noise as well, that they're being plugged in, so it's not.
Do we have any
Kelly, does
control?
that change anything, or Kelly or Rich? Does that change anything? The fact that the southern blue box there is not existing. Would that? I know right now the in-laws live there, but would that be something that needs to get documented so that future owners would be you know, it's gonna be bizarre for a future owner of that site to see there's a parking area coming off of the northern driveway and it's being used for that purpose. Is that something that would have to get like a shared access or something, or any type of easement associated with that?
This is a use variance specific to the site or specific to this business? If they move and sell it, the use variance goes away, right? So
Okay,
that wouldn't, I don't know that it would affect anything
gotcha.
unless the in-laws move away.
Okay,
So maybe just documenting, I mean, this will be documentation right here in our file.
okay.
I think ideally, for the long term, it'd be best to have the parking on the property you control.
I would, yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Right. We can do that, absolutely.
Okay. So all parking will be on your property?
Yes.
Mike, I just had one
Go ahead.
comment. How are you gonna control the smell of the?
We're wanting the smell to go around and everyone to come and eat the food.
I live in a neighborhood where there is barbecue,
Oh,
and I'm always hungry,
Yes.
and I don't mind it.
It is nice. When we go to events, if we have our smoker going, people say they follow their nose to our trailer.
there you go.
It's good barbecue.
It is, yes.
Very
Okay.
few of it's bad.
So we'll add to our list noise control and all parking on petitioner's property. I think that'd be the cleanest way to go.
Okay?
Okay? If you have no objection to that?
No.
Okay.
And did you consider the sign?
Sign is on the list too.
Okay.
Yes, I will work with them. If we do get this granted, do we have to have a sign? Is that mandatory or is it just, okay? So I.
It's if you want a sign.
You
gotta
have a
follow our
sign.
standard.
Yes.
It's rules.
Yes, understood.
Okay. Anybody else, last comments? So the conditions I read off, everybody in concurrence? Motion?
It's a formal
Motion,
review.
I approve.
This
In-
is an informal review.
Last time you guys made me vote on the thing, and I questioned.
We'll
You're
do it
gonna
next
make
time.
them vote again. I make the motion, no.
So we all agree, these are the conditions? We
Yeah,
didn't
there's
miss
a
anything else?
consensus.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. I hope everyone has a great day.
I like the part about the kids helping.
It is. It's good for them
It
too.
is, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Traffic control.
You need somebody to take over your kids to show them.
Yeah, here we go.
We'll put them to work.